You ever look out the car window and see one of those giant highways cutting through everything and just wonder, why is that there? Well, it turns out the roads we drive on every single day tell a huge and honestly pretty surprising story about why our towns look the way they do. So let's get into it. Okay, so picture this is the 1950s, and the US decides to build the biggest thing it's ever built, the interstate highway system. We are talking about 41,000 miles of road. That is enough asphalt to circle the entire planet almost twice. I mean, it was a project on a scale nobody had ever even imagined before. But here's the thing. This project wasn't just about building roads to get you from point A to point B. Oh no, it completely redrew the map of America. And that's the real question we're diving into. How did this one massive project change the world right outside your front door? To really get it, we've got to go back to the middle of the 20th century when this whole grand plan was born from this dream of a super modern, totally connected America. So, in the 1950s, our roads were a mess, total gridlock. President Dwight Eisenhower saw this and had a big idea. He pushed for the Federal Aid Highway Act of 1956, and he called it essential to the national interest. The goal? Seems simple enough. Get rid of all the slow, dangerous roads and create this amazing new system for fast, safe travel all across the country. And wow, what a plan it was. I mean, the goal was to link up pretty much every major city and almost all the state capitals. It was this promise of a future where you could travel easily, business would boom, and the whole country would be stronger. On paper, it sounded amazing, pure progress. But progress for who? And that leads to a massive question. If you're going to build 41,000 miles of gigantic roads, where exactly do you put them? You can't just build them in empty space, right? Well, the answer came with a really, really high cost that most people never saw coming. Just look at that number, 475,000. That's how many households were kicked out to make way for these new highways. We're talking about more than 1 million people. To put that in perspective, imagine the entire city of Austin, Texas, just being told, sorry, you gotta move. That's the staggering human cost we're talking about here. And here is the absolutely heartbreaking truth. Where these highways went, it wasn't random, not at all. This quote from law professor Deborah Archer just says it all. It captures this devastating pattern that historians have since proven was happening. You see, planners often decided, by design, to route these interstates straight through neighborhoods they labeled as blighted or undesirable. And surprise, surprise, these were often vibrant, long-standing communities where Black families and other minorities lived. Highway construction became a tool for something they called urban renewal, which, a lot of the time, was just a code word for clearing out people and places the city planners didn't value. The result? These highways became massive concrete walls. They didn't just move people, they were literally used as tools of segregation, physically cutting off and isolating communities of color. They bulldozed homes, local shops, churches, parks, just tearing the heart and soul out of so many neighborhoods. But dividing communities was only one part of the story. The highways also completely flipped the script on how our cities were even laid out. They basically turned them inside out. All right, think of it like this. Before the interstates, most cities were monocentric. Kind of like a pizza with one giant pepperoni in the middle. Everything, the jobs, the stores, all the important stuff was in one central downtown. But the highways created this totally new model, the polycentric city. Now the pizza has pepperoni scattered all over the place. New centers with offices, malls, and houses started popping up everywhere, far from the old city center. And it happened kind of like a chain reaction. First, the highways made it super easy to live way out in these new suburbs and still drive into the city for work. So tons of families moved out. Then, pretty soon, the jobs and the malls and everything else followed them out there. And before you know it, a whole new American lifestyle was born, one that was completely, totally built around the car. And yeah, this is the world a lot of us live in now, right? This sprawling landscape where you pretty much have to get in a car to go anywhere. This is the new American landscape, designed by and for the interstate system. Okay, so let's bring all this history right back home. To you. Because these huge historical decisions are literally written on the map of your own life, in the city or town you walk around in every day. Seriously, think about it. Is there a big interstate or freeway that slices right through your community? The next time you're driving on it, or maybe even over it, really look at where it is. Now take it a step further. What's on one side of that highway? What's on the other? Does it feel like a wall? What different neighborhoods does it divide? Now that you know, what story do you think that concrete barrier might be telling? And what about just your day? How'd you get to school this morning? Think about your last trip to the grocery store or to see a movie. Did you walk or did you get in a car? For most of us, the answer is, of course, I got in a car. And that's not a coincidence. It's a direct result of the car-first world the highways built for us. So, what you got to remember is that the way our towns are built, it's not an accident. It's all the result of choices that people made a long, long time ago. Which leads me to one last huge question for you. Knowing all of this now, if you could be the boss and redesign your city, what would you change?